Greetings, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, country, city, state, world. Welcome to another edition of and to the Village Chat. I want to welcome each of you, wherever you are, all over the world, all over the city, the state. Hope each of you are well and blessed. I'm excited on tonight as we are approaching a special episode of Village Chat. We've been talking about my special guest, who I will introduce very, very soon. I want to apologize for my rocky voice tonight. Been a bit under the weather. Weather changed, sinuses, y'all know how it is. But I'm doing all right. It can always be worse. Y'all know how that is. So if you hear me sounding a bit, I sound worse than what I feel. So I'm doing well, and I'm thankful for this evening to see all of you. So if you are watching this and you are in the process for the turn up, the journey, I want to welcome you. And if you're watching this and you're not a part of the journey, you're not a part of the 4-day turn up, you don't know who I am, what that is, I welcome you and we welcome you. The 4-day turn up and the journey are two of the world's greatest transformational processes. We focus in on people, doing all that we can to help people become their best possible selves in not a program, but a process. One that focuses in on the mind, the body, and the spirit, healthy eating, living, and being. We have an amazing online village of almost 1,800 people this session, and we're grateful and thankful because of that. If you want more information about me, about the process, about the journey, about the 40-day turn up, visit me and us at what you see on your screen, journeylife.tv. All right? Excellent. So I'm excited on tonight. I've got a great guest who's going to be with me. I have what I call a master gardener. He's one of our very own. This man, and you're going to hear a lot about his story, has actually come through the process. So not only will he talk about it, but he is about it. We're going to get into that. He works very closely with me and my team. He is a person who is very serious about gardening, about the community, about people. And he's someone who's going to help us not only have insight about local sustainability, the potential of local sustainability of our home gardens, but we're going to get to the point to where we actually talk about tips and tricks that you can have so you can implement these tips in your own home, in your own abode. And the great thing about it is, gang, you don't have to have acres and acres of land to do this. So I want to introduce to some, present to others, my guest, Fred Walker, aka Farmer Fred. Farmer Fred, how you doing?
Good afternoon, sir.
How you feeling this afternoon?
Feel pretty good.
On this crisp, it's been cold this week.
Yes, sir. It's been cool.
Colder than normal, right?
Yes.
All right, great. Well, let's jump right into it, sir. I thank you for being my guest and want to welcome all of you. You're not just a part of the team, but you are a person who's actually come through the journey, the 40-day turn up. Talk to me about your experience during the process so people can know who you are.
Yes. Good afternoon, Village. We hope that everyone is doing well. As Dr. Joe introduced, I'm Farmer Fred. My process began back in 2014. I was doubtful about coming through the process. A couple of guys, Tony and Gerard, said, "Won't you come through the process?" I was doubtful at first. Came in back in 2014, came in the process, doubted the process, but I had to embrace the process in order for the process to work within me. Came in the process weighing in about 211 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. As of today, I'm 175. That's
Wow.
about 36 pounds that I have kept off. I didn't retract back and gain that weight. I actually kept it off, and 175 really feels good.
That is awesome. Now, a lot of people don't know, but you are a member of the church that I pastor, Salem Bible Church, right?
That is correct.
And
That
tell
is
the people how long you had been. Tell them how long you've been a member of Salem.
I've been a member of Salem. This month of October makes 30 years.
30 years.
30 years.
And you came through the process in 2014.
That
So
is correct.
now, before 2014, were you actively involved in any ministries?
No, no, I was a pew setter. That's all I did, sat in the pews, and
You
didn't
came in,
really didn't really stay for all the services, just to be honest. And all of a sudden, there you come to be that beacon of light that I have been looking for.
so what was now what people gang listen, what I want you all to know is when Brother Walker went through the process in 2014, I couldn't get rid of him. Not that I was trying to. He, Brother Walker, you were part of everything. You stuck around, you worked with Steph, you became a lead. You were a leader at least how many times, sir?
Four
Four times.
sessions. Yeah.
I mean, you've been in every level of leadership. What is it about the process that took someone who wasn't actively involved in ministry
Mhm.
and then it became literally a fixture in your life? What was it?
It was the energy. It was the energy that the process brought to my life that I was missing.
Really?
Yes.
So talk to us about that. Like what did you feel?
Well, first of all, I didn't have the relationship with food that I needed before the process. I had to learn the steps that food can be your friend and it can be your foe. So I had to build that relationship with the right kinds of food, not just any kinds of food, but the right types of food. Once I began to embrace that, once I began to listen to the lessons that you put forth for us, I began to cook more for myself. And that led to me getting out of the yard and working in the garden. So all of it's intertwined, but the energy that the process brings is very, very key.
So were you actively involved in the garden before the process?
Well, growing up, mother and dad had a garden that they pulled food from weekly, but I wasn't hands on until you taught us the importance of planting your own food, growing your own food, and cooking your own food. I began to put it together. I didn't get it right off, but I began to put it together, and I enjoy cooking.
Wow. That's amazing. I never knew that.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
when you were a leader and you saw, because gang, listen, Brother Walker was the type of leader that if we had 20 people in a group, if we had a rowdy group, we would give them to him because he always just had a knack for just having that calm sense of leadership that people needed. How was
Mhm.
it for you, sir, to see people matriculate through the process?
Well, one of the key things that I had to present myself to the group was that I had been through the process. I had been in their shoes where they were. So I could relate what they saw versus what they were about to go through. A lot of them saw me when I was 210, 211 pounds. A lot of them stuck through the process and saw the weight come off of me. And so that's how one becomes a good leader, is being a good follower. And I just thank you and the team for being out there for us and showing us the way. And 175 feels great.
Well, you look great, sir, and you are a great, great, great asset to the journey, to the 40 turn up, to me personally, to our church. So we want and appreciate you for all of what you've done and who you represent. So
Thank
that's
you.
great. Now let's kind of switch gears a bit and get into the garden. Several years ago, probably around the time when you went through, not long after that, we established Canaan Farms like
Hmm.
2017, somewhere along in there. And gang,
2016. Hmm.
2016, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Canaan Farms gang is the garden that we started at the church. It's in area code 30318. We established it. It was the first. It was the first um, garden that was registered in the governmental USDA
Hmm.
database in
Hmm.
30318. Now,
Hmm.
talk to them about the community so they'll understand where this garden is in terms of the socioeconomic dynamics, that area, how it's turning. Talk to them about that so they can hear that.
Yeah, it's amazing that we picked this area. In this area, we have a lot of mothers, older individuals that have to walk up the street, catch a bus, get to the store, and reverse it and come back. What did when we got Canaan Farms established,
Mhm.
we invited the community in to help us plant. We invited the community and the children in to plant veggies with us.
We did.
That way, it involves the children. That way, it helps the mothers. And the harvest that comes from that garden, you know what we do, Pastor Joe?
Yeah.
We give it to the community.
Hmm. That's right.
So
Now,
it's been a blessing, truly.
yes. Um, talk to them about the socioeconomic state from a realtor's vantage point of how that, crime, just so they get a good understanding of that area from your vantage point.
Mhm. Yeah, 30318 is a hot zone. I think that's zone 3 in the city of Atlanta under the police department precinct. A lot of crime. Uh, a lot of individuals just feel like they sort of like don't belong. The garden has inspired them to come get involved.
Yeah.
One of the key things that I really feel good about, a lot of the older people and the mothers with children, they don't have to walk to the store to catch a bus, to catch a train. They come work with us in the garden. And over time, when harvest time comes, we give them the zucchini, we give them the fruit, the plums, and they are so, so appreciative.
They are. It's almost like the garden has created more of a community feel.
Yes.
And ever since we've been there, we've never had one issue of vandalism, of people tearing it up. The folks in that community really have embraced not just the garden, but the church. Would you agree with that?
I agree with it wholeheartedly. And, you know, we have people right across the street that work in our garden and they look out for us.
They do. They do. So, gang, I
Mhm.
want you all to kind of get a good understanding of like what the area is. Now, being that talk to us about when you got involved in Canaan Farms. What attracted you to that?
The trees. The trees, I think we have about 35 fruit trees out there. And anything that goes into the earth where we use our hands, I'm involved. So when you brought that to us, I automatically signed up to be a part of it. And we have some beautiful, beautiful trees that are in that garden.
And talk to them about the variety that's in there.
The variety of trees that we have are apple trees, peach trees, nectarine trees, persimmon trees,
Yep.
plum trees, pear trees. We have a blueberry patch. We
Yep.
have fig trees. We have pawpaw trees and serviceberry trees. And
Now,
all are giving off fruit.
all of them.
Yes.
Talk to them about the difference that you taste when you grow something by hand versus when you buy it in the
Mhm.
store.
Yes, yes. One of the key things that we right off the bat said about Canaan Farms, we were going to be strictly organic. So there are no insecticides, there are no pesticides, and there are no preservatives to keep that food fresh from the garden to the truck to the grocery store. All of our food is fresh right out the ground. The taste, the people that we give the food to, they come back and tell us they have never tasted fruits and veggies like that before.
They
So
do.
it's a really good feeling to know that you're helping someone, especially the mothers with the children and the older mothers. It's a really a great feeling.
That's true. I mean, just the
Yes.
quality. It's like when you get produce from the local grocery store and then you grow it yourself, you can see the difference
Yeah.
and you can taste the difference. Would
Yes.
you agree with that? Now, so gang, what I want to do right now, I want to show you all what our garden looked like back in the summer. And what
Mm.
you're about to see is a video whereby I think, Brother Walker, those things have been planted not long, probably about a good maybe 3 or 4 weeks. It wasn't long, was it?
Oh, it's about 30 days.
30 days. So you guys, we're
Yes.
about to take y'all into the garden. I know y'all saw a video the other day of where we are in the fall, but we want to take you back to the summertime when it was at the zenith of its growth. This
Mhm.
year, this wasn't last year. This wasn't 2019. This was 2021, probably somewhere along the line. Was it like May, maybe June?
April of May, yes.
April, May. All right, gang. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna take a break and I'm gonna show you guys this video. Let me get things set up. We're almost there. All right. Here we go. Doing, Brother Fred?
Doing well. Got my farmer hat on today. How are you?
I like that. I'm great, sir. You got that Canaan Farms shirt on. So here we are in the garden that we started some years ago. You've been a cornerstone of this. Without you, we wouldn't have all of these beautiful, luscious things. Show the people a couple of things before we get into it. Well, what we got here?
Oh, first of all, Pastor Joe, we've got our trees that we planted some years back. This is actually plum trees, and the plums are actually flourishing in these trees.
Look at this. Wow. So we could eat these.
This is a pear tree.
Wow, look at that.
The pears are actually weighing the limbs down. Good growth.
Yeah.
Very good growth.
Yeah.
And we have more plum trees here. Plums, plums, plums. We have a variety of other trees here, and we have our garden right in the midst of it.
Yeah, point out a couple of varietals. What we got over here?
Well, let's start right here.
All right.
Right here we have basil.
Basil.
We have
It's a
basil.
herb.
If you were here, it has an aroma like Italy.
It's
It is
amazing.
really, really very beautiful.
Right.
Right here we have, look at this, eggplants. The eggplants have actually started coming out. Will you look at that?
Look at that.
And these plants were planted May the 7th,
May.
about 30 days ago, and they are flourishing.
Yes. Look at all this, gang. Look at this. Look at all the leaves. What's this over here?
These are tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
The tomatoes actually are doing so well. We're picking our cages up from Home Depot.
Yeah.
When you look here at these plants, these cages are actually holding the plants up.
Mm-hmm.
These plants have gotten so huge that we have to have tomato cages. And what you see here, the yellow parts are the blooms. This is where your tomatoes will be coming out. We have tomatoes in here.
Look how thick it is. Look at
It's
that.
very, very thick and bushy.
Oh, wow.
So next what we have over here, let's start right here.
Mhm.
What we have here are cucumbers. Cucumbers can either be
Love
crawlers or they can be runners. Reason being, these runners are looking for something to attach to.
Uh-huh.
And we had a wide space. We don't let them run on the ground, but we're also picking up our bamboo sticks. We will be propping these up with bamboo sticks this Friday, and these runners will be running around the bamboo sticks that we have around and flourishing the fruit back onto the ground.
Now, one of the things that I have always advocated and what I'm trying to advocate for are people sustaining their own food. You know, food is becoming more and more synthetic, and this is why this takes us back to how it's supposed to be. So from your vantage point, what are some things that we can do? If someone's watching this, they say, well, that seems like a lot of work. How do you start your own garden? You know, what would be some of the starting places that people need? Maybe a couple of points to all right, we'll stop this because we're going to get into this live time. So wanted you guys to kind of see, let me stop sharing. So Brother Walker, seeing that, how's that make you feel?
Oh, that makes me feel real good. It makes me even feel better because the community are reaping the harvest and the benefits.
That's right. That's right. Well, this is awesome. This is great. So, what I want to do is I want to get into farming on a practical level.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there we go. I know that there are many people watching. People are in different types of living situations, and they think that they can't grow it. My first question is: do you need a lot of space to grow a garden?
No, sir, you do not. You do not need a lot of space. What you
Well, can
need
you? Okay,
actually, go ahead, Pastor Joe.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Anyone staying in a house, apartment, townhome can grow their own fruits and vegetables. All you need is a pot with holes in the bottom that water can flow through, some good enriched soil, and the plant. And you need sunlight and water. It's easily can be done.
All right. Let's say, for instance, someone's watching. They say, "You know what? I'm inspired. I want to start my own garden. What's step one? What do they need to do? Take us from step one all the way."
Okay. If you have a backyard, the first thing you want to do is till up your ground, break the ground up, and find you some rich nutrient soil. The soil that we used last time was called Earth 3 soil. I have never seen any soil like it in my life. You don't want to use topsoil. Topsoil is clay. That means that air can't flow through it and it's harder for water to flow through the plant. You want a light nutrient type soil if you're planting outside. First thing that we did this year was build a raised garden. A raised garden is going to keep your weeds out. It's going to keep your plants contained within that garden. Once you get your seeds, you want to germinate those seeds. You want put those seeds in some rich nutrient soil, which can be on the inside until it's time to plant on the outside. Those seeds are germinating for 14 days, then they become seedlings. Once those seedlings come out of the ground, then it's time to put them into the soil. That's called transplanting. Now, say if you were lived in a townhouse or apartment and you didn't have the space outside, you want to get you a nice container. Find the right type of veggies that you can grow inside. I would say a squash or a tomato. Get you a nice pot, get you some enriched soil, put the plants or the seeds in the soil and water it. If you're in a cold weather zone, you can set your pot in the window to get some sunlight, but the same application from the outside is the same application for the inside. Water, good soil, seeds, and sunlight.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the soil that you said that we use in our garden. What was the name of it again?
It was called Earth 3 soil.
You
And
say
what
you
made this
go ahead.
Earth 3 soil? What made this soil different was what it was composed of. It had peanut shells in it. It had things that could deteriorate over time, enriching your garden instead of you having to get compost, fertilizer, this and that. Everything was compiled into one load of Earth 3 soil. And when you pick the soil up, it just goes throughout your hand. It doesn't stay in your hand.
It was
That
very
means
light.
air very light, meaning the air can flow through it and it's much easier for water to go through the roots.
Now, this was amazing because, gang, listen, you saw in the video, those plants that you saw were basically seedlings 30 days ago. Nothing was
Mm-hmm,
there, just
mm-hmm,
the raised beds.
mm-hmm.
And the game changer was the soil, wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, it was. It was.
I've never
And
seen anything grow like that.
yeah, and here in Atlanta, you maybe can Google it, but here in Atlanta, one of our partners is Site One Landscaping. They provided the soil for us, and I'm telling you, it has been tremendous.
So let's say, for instance, someone hears that they want to start their own garden. where can they go to get good soil? Can they go to Pikes? Can they go to Home Depot? Where should they go?
Pikes and Home Depot are good, but you just don't buy topsoil. That topsoil is something someone has dug up and put in a bag. And once it rains, it turns into mud and it's hard for water and air to flow through it. You want to find a nutrient rich soil, something very, very light. And, if you're buying it by the bag, it's going to be a little bit more, but your harvest is going to reap much better if you have the right type of soil.
Got it. So basically, Home Depot may not be the place they need to go.
No, really, a good place to go if you have one in your area is a hardware store. Some of the old hardware stores have some of the best stuff to put in the ground to bring up your fruits and veggies.
So basically, we want to avoid topsoil because when the water hits it, it hardens, and that prevents the breathability.
That is correct.
The air to get in the roots and for the plants to move and do what they need to do. So
that is correct.
Good nutrient dense soil. So the second step after that, they need to pick what they're going to plant, right?
Yes, and if you're going to be housing your plant or veggie on the inside, you don't want to pick like a zucchini or a squash that's going to run all over your kitchen or run all over the den. Now, they do have some planters at Home Depot that where you can, they're small planters where you can plant and sit in the windowsill. But start out with a pot. Go ahead and get you some seeds, put those seeds into the ground and let them germinate. And what I mean by germinate, once you put that seed in the ground, 7 to 14 days, you should have a seedling sprouting forth out of the soil. You want to keep it there probably another 2 weeks until the roots get stronger. Once that plant comes up and if you're in the right zone for planting and it's springtime, take it outside and put it in the ground.
Got it. When you start seeing it.
Yes. 7 to 14 days for germination.
Put it good soil in a pot. It can be inside near light. Plant it as seeds. Water it. When it begins to grow, transplant it into the garden that's outside.
That is correct. And one other note, Pastor Joe, for a lot of the seedlings that we put in Canaan Farms, during the winter, we bought plant lights here at the house. So we took a lot of those seedlings that you saw in the video. We had already started them back in January, February, and we were just waiting until the right time to bring those out. And we use plant lights. Plant lights you can buy at the Home Depot and Lowe's, and it helps filter the light that you may not be getting from the sunlight, and it gives you that natural type of light that you can grow your plants with.
Now let's go ahead and get into that. Let's talk about outside, because two important elements of a garden is exposure to complete sunlight. You can't be successful in your gardens without proper sunlight, right?
That is correct. Let's
talk about that. So what would be an ideal place for someone to have an outdoor garden? Remember, guys, gang, you don't think about a lot of place, but it's the right place. What would be an ideal location for a garden in terms of light?
Well, the first thing that you would want to do before you planted your garden, a few days or a week, you want to go out in the morning to see where the sun is hitting the ground. You want to come out midday to see where that sun is hitting the ground. And later in that afternoon, you want to see if that same sunlight is near that same ground footage that you plan on planting in. And that's going to be very key. If you're getting a lot of sunlight coming up in the morning, midday, and in the evening, that's the area you want to pick to plant your garden.
So you go out in the morning, you go out in the evening, afternoon, you go out in the evening. You want to be certain that same spot is exposed to the most light.
Yes, and you don't want trees. Trees can inhibit the sunlight, and a lot of these plants need full sun. Some need partial sun, but even if it needs partial sun, you try to make sure that that plant or veggie gets full sun. So if you got trees around, you're going to have to watch that morning, midday, and evening to see where the sunlight is hitting. That's going to be very key.
Very key. let's talk about watering. What is the frequency of how often you need to water?
Now, that's very key. I sort of went off the books our last session. When we put those veggies into the ground, we didn't water them every day. And the reason for that, you want to teach those veggies early to go down into the ground to look for water. That's what a plant does. It dives into the ground and looks for water. That's where it's getting its water from. So every other day we did water, and then we switched it off every 2 days, but we were training the veggies to go downward to look for water, and that helped the root to grow deeper, and it helped the stem of the plant to grow stronger.
Mm. That's a great life lesson. Think about it. That's rich. So, what are some good starter vegetables? I've never done this before. I've never had a garden. I want to get into it. I'm not trying to feed the whole community. I want to get some good, foolproof, I can't mess this up plants. What are some suggestions?
First one, I would say zucchini. If you've ever tasted zucchini from the store and tasted one out of your garden, you're going to automatically tell the difference. Next would be cherry tomatoes.
Cherry tomatoes.
Next would be bell peppers. And last year we planted okra, and the okra is still flourishing. The okra actually got about 8 feet tall. That was our first time planting okra, and we did it from seeds.
So again, those are 4 vegetables that are all approved. All right. Look, you wouldn't even answer for that. That you all can get into, when we now let's talk about time. What should the time of when I plant the seedling, transplant it to my garden outside, to when I can harvest it? Can you talk specific of each one of those different fruits and vegetables?
Yeah. Just say for the zucchini, usually on the tag, a zucchini takes about 45 to 55 days before the harvest. Now, if you've got nutrient-rich soil, that could be expedited. The soil is going to be very, very key along with the sunlight and the watering. The tomatoes takes about 70 days. Okra takes about 55 days. And yellow squash takes about 55 days as well.
Wow.
So and that means you can go out to the garden. You can go out to the garden, cut the stems, and bring it right into the house and eat.
So from the time I plant the garden, I'm looking at 45, 55 days. What frequency, what were the sizes of those raised gardens that we have?
Those were 4x8s.
4x8.
Yes.
Let's say I got a 4x8 raised garden of tomatoes. How many tomatoes can be harvested from that amount of space?
I had those numbers earlier. If we had, I tell you what, one tomato plant gave us about, one cherry tomato plant gave us about 65 to 75 cherry tomatoes.
One plant.
Yeah, one plant. One plant. And we planted about 8 to 10 in that raised bed.
You're talking about 4 to 500 tomatoes.
Oh, yes.
Easy.
We saw that easily.
And y'all listen to this. 1 plant, 65 tomatoes, 8 plants times 6. You're talking about 500 tomatoes. That's enough. That's so much food that one person or family couldn't even consume that.
Yes.
So this is when you start getting into preserving the plants. And let's talk about that. Let's say, for instance, I'm growing my plant, I try it, and I'm like, I got all this fruit, all these vegetables. What do you do with the overflow? How can I keep it?
Well, what you want to do is when you grow this food, you have to have an end game in mind.
It's good.
That means you're going to have your meals prepared for that week, and you're going to know what to cook. You're going to know, I mean, maybe you can cook for the family, someone else's family, maybe your neighbor, get them involved. So it's an ever-ending cycle of knowing how much to plant. And one of the key things that we did this year, Pastor Joe, that I want to go ahead and throw out there, on your bell peppers and zucchini. When you cut those zucchinis up and those bell peppers, just get a bell pepper. When you cut a bell pepper open, tell me, what do you see?
Seeds.
You see about 50 to 60 seeds in one bell pepper.
That's right.
Now, that's your seeds for the next season.
It's free.
Look at there.
You don't have to do nothing to them.
No. Now, if you're doing that in the spring and summer and fall and winter is coming, you open a bell pepper, you get the seeds and you put them in a brown paper sack, you label them, and you put them in the refrigerator. You could have 400 to 500 seeds by next spring.
For free.
For free. Start your own bell pepper farm.
And if I go right now to the store and buy organic tomatoes, one of those little cartons is going to cost me $6, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
With maybe 4 or 5 tomatoes in them. Maybe.
You might maybe get that.
Maybe. And
yes.
You're talking about something where I could feed my whole family and then some for $0.
That's exactly correct. So next growing season in the spring, we're going to be taking, in fact, we got a couple of seeds we got here in the refrigerator. We're going to be planting those in the ground probably around February. We're going to be getting our plant lights. We're going to be putting them in the rich nutrient soil in little trays. And we're going to have those ready for March, April next year.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, now let's talk about transitioning out of spring, summer into fall. When can you expect the end of the summer harvest? Like, talk to us about the end of summer and then how you prepare for fall crops and how the crops are different.
Yes. Well, towards the end of the summer months, it's probably going to be around September. With the soil that we still had growth on a lot of our spring and summer plants all the way to September. All the way to September. So what you want to do during that time is you want to find you some cold, hardy plants. That can be something like collards, turnips, snap peas, and different lettuces. So that's what you want to start thinking about to plant. Now, right where you planted your summer and spring crops, you want to dig that up, till the ground, and that's where you're going to go ahead and put your collards, your cabbage, your turnips, snap peas, and different lettuces. A lot of the plants I just named are cold, hardy plants, meaning that they enjoy the cold weather much more than the summertime. So in Canaan Farms now, we've got collards, we have cabbage, we've got kale, and we have different lettuces. And let me say this, what you didn't know, next week we have 3 to 5 banana trees that we will be planting. They were given to me the other day, and we're going to put them in Canaan Farms.
Oh, look at that, gang. Bananas.
Yeah. Yes.
So bananas will grow during this fall, these cold months, cooler months?
Yes. What you want to do, any type of tree that you're going to plant, you need to plant it during the fall. When hot weather comes, you don't want your little new plant to be out there with the hot weather. Anything that you plant, especially as far as a tree, you want to go ahead and plant it in the fall, so it's much cooler.
Fascinating. So, how long does it take to transition your garden out of summer plantings, preparation for fall plantings?
Just a couple of weeks. Once you pull your last harvest off your spring and summer, your task now is to clean that out, till the soil, get your veggies. And during the cold months, you don't want to plant seeds because winter is right around the corner. So you actually want to get the transplants and put those directly into the ground. And usually the time for the harvest, you got to try to time it. As soon as the first frost hits, that's when you want your collards and your cold hardy vegetables to be up and ready. Because when the frost hits it, that's when it brings out the tenderness and the great taste.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. Wow. So when the frost hits it, it enhances it.
Yes.
Really fascinating. Now, I have so many questions I want to ask. How does the water frequency change from the spring, summer vegetables to the fall vegetables?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you
One of the
water?
key elements, one of the key elements during the summer is you do have to water. Some people water every day, every other day, and you got to watch the weather and let the rain help out as much as possible. When it gets to the fall months, it's not as hot. The roots can sustain itself a little bit better doing it not being as hot. And what we do in Canaan Farms, we water that ground soaking wet, say on Monday. We won't be back to water again until Wednesday or Thursday, because once again, we're training those roots to go deeper into the ground to look for water, which strengthens the foliage and the stem, which gives you better fruits on your vegetables and veggies.
With the collards, let's see, we got collards, we've got lettuce. What are the
Mhm.
other things that we've got in there right now?
We've got cabbage and snap peas.
Okay. When will they be harvested?
The lettuce and the kale, usually about 45 days. On the collards, it's probably going to be about 70 days. So we tried to time it right when we thought maybe winter may get here, October, November. We tried to also time it around November. If our harvest is where it needs to be around November and December, there's another meal that we can give to the people in the community for Thanksgiving, and another meal we can give to them for Christmas if our harvest is timed right.
When will the garden be in sleep mode? Like what months will we be
Uh,
doing nothing?
it's going to be around Christmas.
Christmas to like February, March?
Yes, and what happens when we pull the last harvest out of the ground, the collards and the cabbage, we will till that ground up and then leave it alone. Because what you want to do is break the ground up still. You want air to flow through it, which is going to enhance the foliage, what's going to enhance the soil for next season. So, and then you just leave it to February. Nothing you can do.
Is it true that each year you should not grow the same varietal or the same plant in the same place? Is that true?
We're going to switch it up. I have heard that. I don't know where that comes from. I think it could be, I'm not sure what, but it's no problem in us switching it up. Our main goal is having sunshine, the right rich nutrient soil, and we can make it happen anywhere.
What have you learned this planting season from all the way back from spring until now that you are going to do things different next season that you didn't know, but now you know?
Well, okra. Okra is, we're going to plant a lot of the older individuals that help us in the garden. They go back to those old type foods that brought them from generations to generations. Okra is one of them. On the okra that we grew, we had to pick okra every day because it grows at night. We picked okra every day and they just loved it. They
Every
loved it.
day?
Yeah, it grows at night. It grows at night.
That is
Every day, every other day. So that's why next season we're going to plant in sessions. We're not going to plant all the tomatoes at one time. We're going to plant maybe half the tomatoes at one time, and then 2 weeks later, plant the remainder. So you want a continuous harvest to always be continuously coming up. And that's going to be our plan for next year.
Wow, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait. What do you ultimately want to see from that garden in the future?
I would like to see more school children's and maybe a school involved. Getting our children involved in growing early can only be something positive as they grow up through life.
I agree.
I would like to, we got the children from the neighborhood, but I'd like to partner with the school to get them out once a week if permissible, twice a week, twice a month. Let the children plant their own plant with their name next to it, and then let them watch it grow. That would fascinate them.
It would. I know it would. Did me when I was a kid.
Yes, yes, yes. So
those
getting
are
the
things that
children
kids
involved.
can learn. They can take those. They can take those lessons and learn them forever. I would like to see us becoming a hub of education. I would like to see us teaching these classes. I would like to see us creating models for other churches who can take the model that we used and duplicate it at their own ministry. Like, just think about if every church had a garden. Just think about that. Think about if every church had a ministry that they had a model to go by. They know what to do. They know what to plant. They know what to look for. I want to see that. I want to see us getting into hydroponics. This is another huge industry where people are, in essence, growing plants without the ground.
Exactly.
And a lot of these systems are elevated above ground, and they take minimal space. So it's sustainable for city living. So it gets to the point to where, Brother Walker, when we talk about all the fake foods, and you and I were talking the other day, I was telling you all about the cellular agriculture where these different labs are going to be growing these foods. We need to be in a position to where, all right, if I can't get it, if I can't go and buy real food, I can grow real food.
Yes. Yes.
And we're talking about something that costs nothing. It's time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing that you talked about the hydroponic. Just like you need nutrient-rich soil for the ground, on the hydroponic, you need nutrient-rich water. So it's twofold. And hydroponics, they grow a lot quicker than in the ground.
Well, Farmer Fred, I want to thank you, but before we go, can I steal about another 10 minutes of your time?
Yes, yes.
Right, I want to get, this is what I want to do. Let me tell you what I want to do. I want to give people the opportunity to call in and ask you questions live. How about that?
Okay, that's cool.
All right, gang. So listen, what I want you all to do, I'm gonna leave the number for you all so you don't have to ask the question. Y'all can call in. We'll take about 3. Before you call, turn your TV, your laptop, your all your mobile devices off so we can hear your question. All right. Before y'all see this number, we'll try to take a few questions with Farmer Fred. Let's see how this goes. So y'all hit us up. There's a number on the screen right there. And Farmer Fred, we'll just keep talking until they call in, because they will call in.
Gotcha.
Got some great questions. I plant my vegetables in pots because of lack of space of a garden. It's a little more work, but great results. That's good. All right.
Good.
All right, here we go.
To accept, press 1.
This is Dr. Joe and Farmer Fred. Who am I speaking with?
Michelle Moncada.
How you doing, Sherilyn?
Michelle.
Michelle. I'm sorry. How are you, Michelle?
I'm doing fine.
And are you in the 40-day turn up?
Yes, I am, sir.
And shout out your group and your leader.
My leader name is Betty Edwards, and our group name is She Ready.
I know Betty, and shout out to everybody in She Ready. What question do you have for Farmer Fred, Michelle?
I just wanted to ask Farmer Fred, what does he use for to keep the pests off? Even though I know it's organic, and I have used other forms, I just want to know his form of using pesticides to get the bugs away, the organic way.
All right, Farmer Fred. I don't hear him. Hold on one second. I don't hear you, Farmer Fred. I'll tell you,
Okay.
Michelle.
Okay, great. Well,
Go ahead.
in Canaan Farms, we use
Uh-oh.
no pesticides, no insecticides.
Farmer Fred, are you there?
Okay.
Okay, it's a little delay. Can you hear me okay?
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I guess it's a bit of delay, but go ahead and try to speak over it. We'll do the best we can.
I'm here. Can you hear me? I hear you fine.
Okay, I think it's a sir. I'll tell you, I'm gonna remove you.
Okay.
Hit that link back in. Let's try to reboot. So
Okay, what we're going to do in Canaan Farms, we use no pesticides, insecticides, or anything to keep the bugs away.
All right, gang. Mishap. We'll do that again. I'm gonna let Farmer Fred come back in and answer Michelle's question about insecticides and pesticides. All right. Brother Fred?
Hey, I'm here.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead and answer Michelle's question. I can see you good.
Yeah. When it comes to the insects and pests, at Canaan Farms, we use no pesticides, insecticides, or anything to keep the bugs away. One of the key things that helped us out was the raised garden. And I think the nutrient-rich soil played an important role in it. So we don't use any pesticides or insecticides. If we find a bug or something that is on a plant, we would just, take that bug out, kill it, but we don't use any insecticides or pesticides. We try to stay organic as possible.
That's great. All right, awesome. Let's see if we got some more callers. Y'all are blowing us up. Lord have mercy. Let's see. All right, gang, go ahead and call us in with your questions and we'll answer. That is great. So basically, we don't use anything for pests because when you do, it's not organic, right?
No, yeah, we don't use 7 dust or anything. The old folks used to get the 7 dust and put on the plants to keep the bugs away. We don't do that.
7 dust. Wow.
Yeah.
Because whatever you put on the plant will be in the plant. And then when we eat the plant, we become the plant.
Exactly.
All right, let's see what we got, Farmer Fred.
Call from Shalisa.
This is Dr. Joe. Who am I speaking with?
This is Shalisa.
Hey, Shalisa, you're on live. How are you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Tell me, are you a part of the process?
I am a part of the process. Our wonderful leader is Michelle Washington.
Yes.
And we are biggie to small.
Oh, yes. I'm familiar with her. Good to have you with us. What question do you have for Farmer Fred?
Farmer Fred, do you do any companion planting with your vegetables?
Ask for that once again.
Do you do any companion planting with your vegetables?
Companion planting.
What is companion planting? I haven't heard that. Tell me about that.
So there's a thought that if you plant certain vegetables next to each other, it will repel pests and keep, good for the other vegetables. And so I just wanted to
Yes. Okay. Well, that's
okay.
Yeah, pollination. We try to keep we don't separate our plants. We try to keep the fruits and vegetables together. there are certain insects that are good for plants. Like on some of our zucchini and cucumbers, we had black bees that would come into the flower, get the nectarine, pollinate. But when we went to a different plant, we had different type insects that would pollinate for that plant. And sometimes those bees and bugs keep away the pests. So it's a twofold thing. So yes, we do companion plant. I guess I'll remember that from now on, and it works well.
Thank you so much for your question.
Okay, no problem.
You have a blessed evening.
You too.
All right. All right, gang. Some good questions, Farmer Fred.
It was companion planting.
Complain, because I was like, I didn't know what that was, but I get it now. All right. And we got time for one more, gang. So you all go ahead and call that number in if you want to ask a question to Farmer Fred. That's great, man. We need more of this. This is exciting.
Yeah.
You know, because getting out, people don't like going outside and getting their hands dirty, but it's so cathartic, it's so relaxing.
It is. It is.
Oh. See if we got anybody else. So, Farmer Fred, as we wait for one more call, how do you plan the season? Like, are you like a month out? Do you start planning? Like, let's say for instance, you're going to start planting. What's your lead time?
Well, usually, in some of the Home Depots and Lowe's, I go around to the vegetable department and look at their plants. A lot of people don't. They have packs of plants, and they just sit there during the whole year. A lot of people don't go to the plants.
We got one more, Farmer Fred. Hold on one second.
From Tamika Mitchell.
Tamika Mitchell.
Greetings, Tamika. You're on with Dr. Joe and Farmer Fred. How are you?
Oh, I am doing great. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I know exactly who you are. Now, are you a leader this round, Tamika?
I am a super leader this time.
You're a super leader. Well, how are you doing? And what question? First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking.
Well, I want to thank you.
I have a simple.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have a quick question for Farmer Fred. I am late planting my collard. This year I was out of town the month of September, so I've started little plants. Is it too late to start a winter garden?
I would say no. If you look at the seasons that have passed from year to year, we're getting more sunlight. It's not getting as cold as it has been in the last 10 years. We're having mild winters, and we're getting a little bit more daylight. So no, I will go ahead and get those collards, get my ground ready, and I would set them in the ground. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I have a lot of okras as well, and they're doing, I would normally pull them out in September, but they're still producing. And the are still producing. So yes. I guess I don't have the room to keep both, so I'll go ahead and get my winter garden started. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Tamika.
Very good.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
All right, Farmer Fred, look at this question. Brian Spooner. Is it more difficult sustaining a garden in Florida than in Georgia? I'm thinking about the challenges with heat, bugs, etc.
Georgia and Florida are sort of similar.
Hold on, we'll get back to that. We got hot lines.
Bring it on.
This is Dr. Joe. You're live with Dr. Joe and Farmer Fred. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Dr. Joe. This is Sally Richards. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well.
Well, are you in the process?
Of course I am. I'm in the journey now. And it is a journey.
Well, shout out your team and your leader.
So I am in Team Unity, and Kim Brown is her name on there. Sometimes there's Santa Brown.
Yes.
But that's our coach.
All right. What question do you have for Farmer Fred?
My question is about the boxes. How the actual build out of the framing.
Yes.
So is that something that, like, is it sitting like on pallets or something,
And is there somewhere you can can somebody build that for you? Do they already come assembled? How did you get that?
Good question. Did you hear a question, Farmer Fred?
Did she ask the question, was the raised bed sitting on a pallet or something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, she wants to know more about like how you build it. Is it built on something? Is it just on the ground?
Yes. And that's a very good question. I'm glad it came up. Now, the wood that we use is not pressure treated. The reason that it's not pressure treated is because pressure treated wood has some type of toxins in it. And when that pressure treated wood, when it rains on it, that toxin goes into the ground, that toxin goes into the root, that root absorbs the toxins, and it, before you know it, it goes up to the plant. So you just want to use a wood that is not pressure treated. And what we have to build our 4x8 gardens were 3 2x4s by 8. And what we did, we left the 2 8-foot pieces on the sides, and we cut one of the 8-foot pieces, which made it 4 feet on each side. So 3 2x4x8s, you cut one in the middle, which gives you 4x4, and that's how you build your garden. Make sure that your ground is level, weed free, and happy planting.
Excellent. Great answer, sir. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent. All right, Farmer Fred, you want to finish this particular question?
Yes.
Our last one.
Hey, Brian, how you doing? Florida and Georgia are almost about the same. Georgia has the Savannah coast, and you guys have your coastline down there. So the main thing is preparation. If you're in Georgia, Florida, it's preparation, preparing the land, making sure that you're going out, making sure that you're getting full sunlight morning, noon, and evening. So no, I think it's going to be about the same. It's the type of vegetable. What you have to think about is the type of veggie that you're going to plant, making sure that you use the right nutrient-rich soil, and just go ahead and do happy planting. It's going to be fine in Florida just like it is in Georgia.
Excellent. Thank you for your question, Brian. Excellent. Well, Farmer Fred, you have been a fantastic guest. Thank you, sir. You mean an awful lot to me, to our village, to our church, to the community, to everyone who's gotten a chance to come to know you. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for being a part. And I can't wait to have you up here again.
Okay, that'll be great. Thank you. Bye-bye, village.
All right. All right, gang. There we have it. Farmer Fred. Farmer Fred. The village has its own Farmer Fred. Again, before we go away, I hope you've enjoyed tonight. I want to do something special. One of our participants just received information about her health, and it wasn't good. I called her earlier on today. I spoke with her. It came up through our leadership hierarchy. That's how we do. When every one of my leaders is sick, hospitalized, when someone dies, passes away, anything, they let me know, and I reach out to them because we are a village. I want to call her right now. I'm gonna see if I can get her. She doesn't know that I'm going to call her. I'm going to let her tell her story if she so chooses, and then I'm going to be certain that she's okay with that before I say who she is, just to be certain that I'm not divulging any type of information that she doesn't want. So let's see if we can get her.
Hello.
Yvette,
Hey, Dr. Joe.
how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
You weren't expecting me to call you, were you?
I was not. I literally just looked up the phone, sitting there with my grandson. I said, "Is that Dr. Joe?"
Well, I listen, before you say anything, I got you. You are on a live call right now.
Okay.
Hundreds of people are listening to you, and it'll be thousands of people. I wanted to call
Okay.
you and just give you the opportunity, if you choose, to tell the people what you're going through so we can pray your strength during this time. Is that okay?
That is absolutely okay.
All right. Well, let's first of all, tell them your first and last name and tell them what group you're in and who your leader is.
Okay, I am in the, my first name, Yvette, last name Saunders, Yvette Saunders, and I am in the Journey, Group B, and my leader is Lanita. And is that all you asked me to
Yes,
say
yes.
so far?
So
Okay.
so tell them your story so they can know what you're up against.
Okay, so I am right now battling breast cancer. I was first diagnosed in 2001 with stage 2B breast cancer, which means it had spread beyond my breast to my lymph nodes. Found that on, just by the grace of God, my late husband thought he felt a lump and suggested I go in to get it checked. I was in my early 30s, not even in the age range to have regular mammograms. I went in, had the mammogram. They told me I was fine. They didn't see anything to go home. I got back to my office. The chief radiologist called to say that she happened to pick up my film while she was on lunch, and she saw something at the very edge of the film that didn't look right, and she wanted me to come back and focus more under my armpit. And when I went back and did that, they immediately did a biopsy and found out that I did have breast cancer. I had been sent home and told I was perfectly fine. I didn't need to come back. So just by the grace of God, she happened to pick up my film on her lunch hour. So they kind of fast-tracked everything because they had misdiagnosed me, and I immediately had a couple of excisions to try and remove the tumor, but all the margins were cancer. So I had a breast mastectomy, and I started treatment with infusion chemotherapy and about 6 weeks of radiation. I then took tamoxifen for about 5 years, and they didn't see any recurrence of the cancer, so they deemed it in remission. And I went on living my life thinking I was clear cancer-free. Around 2017, I started having pains in my back and in my hips. And at the time, I was very actively working out. And I kept going to the doctor. They just kept telling me, oh, you're not stretching properly, try yoga and, some other things. And I was getting off the elevator one day for a doctor's appointment, and a pain I can't describe hit me. I fell to my knees. I couldn't breathe. To inhale was so painful. They rushed me to the ER, and they were thinking maybe it was kidney stones or something like that. But once they started running the scans, found out that it was cancer. It had spread to my bones. So I was diagnosed at that time with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer in my bones. It was in my spine, both of my thighs, both hips, my ribs, and my upper left arm. I went through a series of having to learn how to re-walk again. I had to wear back brace. I had to sleep in my living room for about 6 months, propped up on the couch because I couldn't make it up the stairs. But in about a year, I was back to normal, walking and doing everything I was normally doing. I was taking an oral chemo, and I was told at that time that the chemo may not work, that the cancer may outsmart the chemo, and they would just have to try a new chemo. And so about 4 years later, actually, I was halfway through the 40-day turn-up when I started experiencing pain in my hips again. They told me, no, the blood work is showing that the cancer is still inactive. And I was very insistent. I was like, nope, do a scan because I'm having pain. And sure enough, we did the scan and saw that the cancer was active again. So I started with a new regimen of chemo and hormone injections. And I just went for my first scan after about 4 months of taking the new chemo, and found out that chemo is not working, and that while the cancer hasn't spread, the tumors that are there have gotten larger. So now I'm having some test runs to analyze the cancer cells, see if they've mutated, and to look at the original biopsy tissue to see if I qualify for some clinical trials to try and determine if there are some other medications that they can give me that will help slow down the progression of the cancer.
Well, you and I spoke earlier on today, and you just been in my spirit, and I was just led to call you to where everyone who's listening, I want us to just touch and agree on behalf of our sister right now, wherever you are. And God, we thank you for this day. We pray for the healing of our beloved sister, Yvette. We thank you for her life. We thank you for her purpose. Lord, we know that you're not through with her, and we just pray for you to hear our cry. As we come together, Lord, as this village that you've put together, we ask that you receive the ask of all of our individuals who are in this village on behalf of our sister. We pray for healing in her body. We pray for peace in her mind. Lord, we ask that you lead and guide her caretakers, her health professionals, her physicians, her doctors to give her the treatment that she needs. Lord, we know that it's not in the hands of the doctor, but it's in your hands. We place her life, we place her future, we place all of these prayers that we're asking, and we're putting it in your hands. Give her a sense of calmness. Give her a sense of tranquility. Give her a sense of peace that she knows that we're leaving it all at the altar. We give you the praise, the honor, and the glory, and we claim her healing in advance. In your name, we do pray and ask. And together we all said, amen.
Amen.
All right, Yvette, we love you so much.
Thank you.
And you
Thank
hang in
you so
there.
much.
And we're going to continue to talk so I can understand about your progress. And we're going to claim victory in advance. Okay?
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
Thank you, Lord.
Be blessed.
All right.
Be blessed now. All
Same
right.
to you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You know, you never know when you need prayer. You never know when you need someone to touch and agree on your behalf. Let's keep our sister in our prayers and our thoughts. We thank each of you for joining us. Thank you, Fred Walker, aka Farmer Fred. What a great segment. I hope you've learned. I hope you've received. We're getting ready for our next masterclass this upcoming Saturday at 3 p.m. Weigh-in day is approaching. Let's continue to move forward so we can do all that we need to do to become our best possible selves. Until next time, be well, be blessed, and we'll see you then.